like you, be strong to hold the powers of the sun.
Let's listen to Pavarotti.
I'm the only.
Hello, welcome to The Revealing. I'm your host, Pavarotti. I'm here to discuss the Idaho 4 case. And in this episode, we're going to discuss a very serious topic because it's come up in our court docs. And I think I've got a good grasp on what the prosecution's strategy is as it relates to this subject. You see, one of the main components of the Franks motion, and it has been proven in the court docs, and I've mentioned this in several videos here lately, is the fact that the FBI and its special agent Imel identified the Hyundai Elantra in the King Road neighborhood as a 2011 to 2013. And then we learned in the court docs for the Franks motion in the footnotes from the judge that the Special Agent Imel was not coming off of his 2011 to 2013 identification of it in email correspondence with Brett Payne. So that means Brett Payne took it upon himself to expand the year model. And now this was way back before even the AT&T warrant. So this would have been information used to get that AT&T warrant, which, as I've mentioned, then fruit of the poisonous tree comes in after that. And that would eliminate the probable cause affidavit, everything. And because they even use that same BS in the probable cause affidavit. So it would certainly eliminate that as well. But when we look at the new court docs, we see that Bill Thompson is going to be calling to the stand Special Agent Imel and his vehicle identification methods of the Hyundai Elantra in the King Road neighborhood. Now that would lead us to one of two conclusions. One, that Special Agent Imel is going to get on the stand and lie. Or two, there must be some other explanation because he clearly identified the vehicle in the King Road neighborhood as a 2011 to 2013. And that's why I said in previous scenarios, I firmly believe that it was Kohbeger's car making the last pass in the neighborhood. I was wrong because if he identified that vehicle as a 2011 to 2013 on one pass, he would have identified it on all the passes. So it would have been that same vehicle. So that wasn't Kohbeger's car. And we now know that. So the real question is, how is Bill Thompson going to call Special Agent Imel to the stand and have him testify that the vehicle in the neighborhood could have been a 2011 to 2016 Hyundai Elantra and go against what he had already stated on the record in emails to Brett Payne that's been uncovered? How is he going to get up there and contradict his own statements? And my answer to you is he is not. He is not going to testify to that. But in this video, I'm going to show you what he is going to testify to, and it backs up everything that we thought about in this case. Hold on, we're going to get right into it. Okay, so our first example is going to be in Judge Hippler's order originally for the Franks motion the defense filed. So this order was to tell the defense, hey, look, you're pointing to some arguments here, but you gave me 2,000 documents, and you're not pointing to specifically what your argument represents in the document. So I'm having to go through and look for it. Y'all redo it and tell me exactly, point to the documents that you're citing in your argument, which is fair. But this is what he put in the footnotes that tells us what we need to know. By way of example, defendant cites generally to Exhibit D9 for the proposition that law enforcement's vehicle expert felt more comfortable setting the date range of 2011 to 2013 for the Elantra. So what he's saying right here is, to give you a context, these are emails between Special Agent Imel and Brett Payne probably somewhere around the 20th of December in that area. And they've got Kohbeger's name. They have identified the vehicle in WSU as a 14 to 16, which is likely Kohbeger's vehicle. So Brett Payne must have went to Imel and said, hey, do you feel comfortable changing this from 2011 to 2016 so that it matches this vehicle? And Imel, in emails, must have stated, no, I feel more comfortable with the identification that it's an 11 to 13. Now, Imel's got 35 years of experience, and he's got all these programs to be able to identify a car. So he's identified that vehicle in the neighborhood as an 11 to 13. That's what that vehicle is. That's not Kohbeger's car. But because that's not Kohbeger's car, that means none of the vehicles that came into the King Road neighborhood from 329 through 420 were Kohbeger's car. They were all that 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra. However, a sleight of hand is going to try to be pulled. And we know this because when we look at the other docs that just came out, the prosecution is going to call Special Agent Imel to the stand to testify to his vehicle identification in the King Road neighborhood. Let me explain what's going to take place. For Exhibit S8, the state disclosed the vehicle identification expert S.A. Imel. The disclosure specifies that he will testify to his use of forensic audio, video, and image analysis program. The forensic audio, video, and image analysis program was used to determine the make, model, and year of a suspected vehicle involved in the 1122 King Road burglary and homicides in Moscow, Idaho, on or about November 13, 2022. It is clear from the disclosure that this witness is an expert in vehicle identification. Defendant has repeatedly been provided the images relied upon, which are detailed in his report of examination, which was attached to the state's disclosure. The state's disclosure provides defendant with adequate notice of S.A. Imel's anticipated testimony to satisfy the requirements. So what they're saying is they're going to put S.A. Imel, Special Agent Imel, on the stand, and he's going to testify to his vehicle identification. Now, does that indicate that he's going to get on the stand and lie? Because they've already got documentation of him stating he was more comfortable with it being an 11 to 13 in the King Road neighborhood identification. So it would be completely beyond idiotic for him to get on the stand and boldface lie about it when they have documentation proven otherwise. So we've got to take a step back and we've got to use our critical thinking skills. And we've got to look at the cues and the clues that are given to us in these docs. We know that Imel said he's more comfortable identifying the vehicle in the King Road neighborhood as an 11 to 13. Now, the prosecutor could put him on the stand, Bill Thompson, and say, I know you were more comfortable, but is it possible that it was a 11 to 16 and not 11 to 13? And he will answer, yes, it is possible, but I did feel more comfortable identifying it as an 11 to 13. Then he wouldn't really be lying. He would just be bending the truth. But here is the truth. And this is what his follow-up question to him will be in order to try to make it right. You can see right here, it says, this witness is an expert in vehicle identification. Defendant has repeatedly, and repeatedly means that the defendant has been given this information for a long time, okay? Been provided the images relied upon, which are detailed in his report of examination, which was attached to the state's disclosure. So that means they've given the defendant these images many times and for a long time. So here is what's going to happen, folks, because if you're familiar with the court docs, you can clearly see the game here. When we go back all the way back to I believe this was June of 2023. The defense, in one of their objections, stated this. One area of the investigation had to do with a white sedan on a camera located at 1112 King Road, first glimpsed by officers on November 18, 2022. By November 25th, 2022, police believed the car to be a white Elantra and asked law enforcement to be on the lookout for one. Precisely how the police came to believe the car was an Elantra is still unknown. A report from an analyst for the FBI dated March 21st, 2023 shows the analyst heavily relying on a video of a car heading in the wrong direction and at the wrong time on Ridge Road. So they've already told us in court docs long ago, just like the prosecution stated in their witness disclosure, that we've given you this information for a long time now. And the defense has had it for a long time now. The agent, Special Agent Imel, is not going to get on the stand and testify that that vehicle is a 2011 to 2013 in the King Road neighborhood, and that was his identification. He's going to get on the stand and he's going to testify that the vehicle that he's seen on Ridge Road at a different time heading a different way is a 2014 to 2016 Hyundai Elantra. So that is the way that Special Agent Imel is going to get on the stand and not be able to, not directly perjure himself, but be able to pull a sleight of hand, not acknowledge his identification of the car in the King Road neighborhood, but then zero in on his identification of the car going the wrong way at the wrong time on Ridge Road. So that tells us a lot right there. See, that's how they pull dirty tricks, and that's how they get away with it, because people aren't watching close enough to be able to see those dirty tricks in advance and call them out for what they are. But like many things in this case, if you pay close enough attention to details, they let out what they're going to do. They just do it over a period of time, and you've got to be looking really close to be able to catch that stuff. I mean, it's obvious. When we look at the statement from Bill Thompson, because this one perplexed me the other day, he said that the state has received the discovery in the same manner in which it's provided it to the defense. And I made the statement. I said, well, man, I mean, the state could not have gone through all that discovery like that. How are they picking out what they're going to try him with? And then it hit me like a ton of bricks. It's glaringly obvious. That's why when we go back to those old court docs, they still have probably more merit today than they did back then, because the state is going to be trying to, now they may have a couple of pieces here and there that they've been given, but their state is originally going to they're going to try to prosecute Bryan Kohbeger based off of the original evidence in this case. That's what they had put to the side. They're getting all this discovery. They're providing it to the defense. I think the defense is worried that buried in all that discovery is some kind of stuff that they're going to use against them. And there may be a few things, so they do need to worry about that. But I think the majority of that discovery, the prosecution didn't even care about. They're getting it and passing it on. And they're going to be trying to try this thing based off of their original stuff. They're going to try this thing. They're going to put Imel on the stand, for example. And they're going to say, now, was your vehicle identification, because you're an expert, of that vehicle in the King Road neighborhood, could it have been an 11 to 16? And he's going to say, well, I mean, it's possible, but I did feel more comfortable identifying it as an 11 to 13. And they're going to say, okay, but based on this video of this vehicle right around the corner, was your identification of that one as a 14 to 16, is that accurate? And he's going to say, yeah, without a doubt, that one's a 14 to 16. So it quite possibly could be that car in the King Road neighborhood, which we all know is a crock of crap. And that is a bait and switch. And that is what they're going to try to do. So Here's the thing, and this is what frustrates me when people say, we're not going to have any kind of impact on this case. All we can do is point the attention to injustices as a content creator. No, I disagree, highly disagree. When you can go through and you can pull out facts like that, and you can see strategies in advance that are underhanded, and you call them out, and you get it out into the public sphere, you can bet the FBI, probably the whole prosecution team, is watching several things on these YouTube videos. And when you start to get information like that out into the public sphere before the trial, you think that's not going to have an impact on their strategy in the trial? If you've called it out before the freaking crap happens, and then they get up and they do it, they know they're going to look stupid. They don't like looking stupid. So getting this stuff out into the public is key. It's important. It will have impact. So don't nobody tell me it won't. But hopefully that clarifies that, because the guilters out there want to use that, the fact that they're stating that Special Agent Imel and Special Agent Balance is going to testify is, oh, well, the Kohbegers were stupid. Look, they're going to testify. I guess y'all were wrong about the FBI stepping in. Well, it sounds to me like the FBI is going to have 2 of their agents out of 70 that are going to step in and testify. If you look at, it tells you what they're going to testify to. Special Agent Balance and his cast data, it says in the expert statement, in the prosecution's response to the defense, Special Agent Balance is going to testify to cast data on the vehicle's whereabouts prior to the vehicle, prior to the phone's whereabouts, not the vehicle, but they're going to testify on the whereabouts of the cell phone prior to and after the atrocity on King Road. So all he's going to do is testify to what they've already stated, that the phone quit reporting to the network at 2:53, and it didn't start reporting to the network again until 4:48. Balance is going to get up and testify on where he thinks the phone was till 2:43 or 2:53 and after 4:48. He's not going to testify one iota to where the phone was between those times, when that's the crucial time when the atrocity happened. So it's not like the FBI is going to get up there and shine a light on some things that we haven't already heard. It says it in the disclosure. He's going to testify on crap we've already heard that we know is crap. No evidence is not the best evidence. Evidence is the best evidence. And there's no evidence of where that phone was between 2:53 and 4:48. I don't care where it was before or after. And that's all he's going to testify to. So don't think the FBI is coming in with a red cape on and going to save this thing for the prosecution, because it ain't going to happen. And then Special Agent Imel, he's going to testify to the fact that that was a 14-16 on the WSU campus. He's going to testify that there was a 14-16 going the wrong way at the wrong time on Ridge Road. And he's going to testify that he's more comfortable with identifying the vehicle in the King Road neighborhood as an 11-13, but there's a possibility it could have been, that same car that we seen on Ridge Road, which if we let him do that, that's what he'll do. But if enough of us get this information out before the trial, that guy will not even do that. He'll stick with his vehicle identification in the King Road neighborhood of an 11-13. That's how public opinion works. That's how getting information out there works. And if you think for a second, I know a lot of you really believe this, but if you think for a second, after I did that video about moving that trial to the Nez Perce brand new county courthouse, now there may have been some construction issues that changed that move, but the fact that I pointed it out in detail before they made that decision to move that thing there, you can bet that thing was getting moved there. But when you put that stuff out in the public opinion, they think twice about those decisions that they make. And this thing, instead of going to Nez Perce, ended up in Boise, and John Judge bailing from the case. You think that didn't have an impact? You need to think again, folks. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Post your comments, thoughts, criticisms. Until next time, Pavarotti's out.